Hello, it is now June 2nd. Funny because I started recording this on May 31st and no audio came through. So here I am back at it again, which, hey, you know what? God, have your way. I've prayed and I asked God to step in and I asked that He has His way. Lord, I pray my flesh decrease so your Holy Spirit would increase within me, that I would speak what you have for me to speak at this moment. As I did mention in my last, I guess, real official video for start, that I wanted to get into what I call spoken blog. Basically going back to the post that I had posted on my blog, Heavenly Glimpse. And that started back in 2017, which I also had this channel, but I never posted anything because I don't like being in front of a camera. So, yeah. I'm going back to it, funnily. More technical difficulties. My laptop looks like it wants to die on me. But anyways, well, I guess I'll speak really quickly about that. This post, as I did mention, it was 2017. It's November 28th, 2017. And I titled it, "Oh, Taste and See That the Lord is Good." So this day I'm not going to read the blog word for word. If you want to, the link is here on my page. But basically what I did was, which seems almost nostalgic at this time with the current climate with the world, not even just America, but the world. But I went to the beach and it was actually a really great day. I went on my own. I took my tent, I took my Bible, I played my worship music. I really got in and asked God for a word. And He led me to the book of Ruth. And it wasn't necessarily the focus of the love story. Of course, us sisters, we like to read about the love story, especially for those who are single. Yes, I am single at this moment. Not saying that I'm marketing myself, but just anyways, I'm very awkward. So I'll just keep going like it never happened. But this particular day, I read it, and of course, God is just that great. You can read the same exact story twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and get different meanings out of it. So this one, it more so focused on the trials. Ruth was very strong. She was very strong. She had her husband had passed away, and she continued on living with her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law, who of course lost her son, her husband, and her other son, went back to her hometown. And it was that selfless act that Ruth did that brought her into such a great position where she's actually in the Bible. But her selfless act, she was paired off with Boaz. I should maybe not pair off, but she was destined to be with Boaz. Boaz was a part of God's plan. Boaz was a part of the bloodline that is so great. Boaz and Ruth are the parents of Obed. Obed are the parents of King David, the man after God's heart. So sometimes we don't understand what's going on with our trials and tribulations and our losses and even our gains sometimes, but God is always in control. And if we continue to keep Him in the forefront, everything will work out. But of course, like, how did I even get to this place of blogging and everything? Well, like I said, I'm Linda. I'm the vessel behind the Heavenly Glimpse. I am a product of 2 immigrant parents from Haiti. I've grown up in a church, so to speak. My mother, we grew up in Catholicism. So, I mean, and I don't talk about religion or anything of that sort, but I mean, I was young. I didn't grasp much of it. I mean, I went through the baptism and the communion and second communion. I didn't go as far as confirmation. By that time, life was just kind of different. So my siblings, we went from Catholicism to Baptist church and different things, to the point where I was like, church is just not for me. Like, I can love God and I don't have to be in church. And I felt like, hey, church was like, I don't know, everybody goes through like a point where it's like church is fake and all these other things, and it's like based on whatever experiences you've been through, but that's not necessarily, you know, what the purpose of the church is. But I didn't learn certain things until, like, fast forwarding, I want to say maybe like 10, 15 years, I want to say, afterwards, where I went through my first storm. And my first storm was actually really terrible. I mean, any storm, of course, is any type of interruption in your day-to-day living that causes so much hurt and pain. It's terrible, of course. I mean, but storms aren't here to break us; they're here to make us. But within that first storm, I felt in my heart, pick up the Bible, read the Bible. I was already in a place where I was trying to figure out spirituality and, you know, what's what, and didn't know what was against God, what was not against God. Not saying that I was like such a non-believer, but I just wanted to understand things on my own. But I felt in my heart that God was telling me, read the Bible. So I picked up the Bible and I read it. I was like, you know what, this is something I want to do. I want to read it from cover to cover. And I started reading, and I just started asking questions like, this don't make any sense, or that's pretty harsh, or, you know, many different questions that I had. I mean, if anything, I encourage anyone else, if you pick up the Bible, ask God, what is it that you want me to read? What is it that you are speaking to me at this time? Or, hey, Lord, I need a word, and he'll guide you. He's always speaking to us, and he always wants the best for us. So as I was reading the Bible, I didn't know how real God was. I didn't know that I would even get an answer, but lo and behold, I got an answer. And not only did I get an answer, I was just blown. I was like, wow, so God, you're really real. Like I knew, but it's like I didn't know. But so yeah, so then I started reading the Bible, and not only was God answering when I was speaking, when I was asking questions in various ways, he was showing me things in different ways, and the Bible came alive in such a new way. But that's starting my life off with Christ. He connected me with lots of gifted people that would encourage me, speak life into me, and, you know, help me understand what a storm is and what it's meant for and stuff. And it was so hard. But finding God actually helped my heart. It helped me. There are still lots of ironing that I needed to do. Sorry about the squeaking. That is my dog. My dog is squeaking with his little toy. But anyways, finding God helped heal certain wounds. And then I finally got into a church, and I thank God for that. After I got into a church, God shifted me to another place. Like, things were just happening so fast in my spiritual walk, and I thank God. And, you know, you look back and you see he's still squeaking. But you look back and you see, like, wow, like, hey, I don't know, maybe I still don't understand it, but I thank God for it, because I knew that I was listening to him as he was guiding me. But fast forward a little bit more, there was another storm that hit me, and that was one of the hardest, because at this point my life was so focused on God. I wanted more God. I wanted everything God. I just wanted God. And it showed, like, the hunger and thirst for righteousness. It really shows, because God was really, like, right there, and I was just like experiencing things in such a way that only God can do. And of course, when the more you draw closer to God, the more that the enemy tries to stop you, and he is so real. And it's just sad. Sometimes I cry because of the people who don't believe that God is real, and they don't understand that the devil is real. And oftentimes the devil won't even show up until you have your foot solid, both of your feet solidly planted in the things of God. The devil's like, hold up, no, I can't have this. I can't have this person trying to turn their family, trying to turn their loved ones, or try to turn strangers or encourage people into the truth. But that's what the devil does. He's very cunning, he's very sly, he's very quiet, he's very patient, but he's planting seeds all day long. And until you start to seek the truth, you won't find. But yeah, so my heart was very open at this point, with this second, well, not the second storm, but one of the biggest storms, I should say, because at this point I went through storms after storm after storm after storm. But yeah, my heart was really open, but then this wound, it just cut extremely deep. And I just couldn't fathom that God, who I was chasing after, who I threw everything away for, and any person he would ask me to throw away for, like, why would God put me through this? Why would I go through this? And it's funny because he did warn me before the storm actually happened, but I didn't understand that it would be the magnitude that it was. I hear a lot of times the hotter the batter, the greater the victory, or the greater I don't know, but it was very, very tough. And I got to a point where I didn't I lost a lot of my faith. I was hurting so much. I lost a lot of my faith, and I just couldn't understand it. And to even back up a little bit more, the reason why I kept going through certain storms is because I battled strongly with unforgiveness. And that's more so with my blog. Not saying it's completely about that, it's about all my struggles, but that was one of the biggest struggles in my life. Unforgiveness, being bitter, being unforgiving, and just because it's one thing, to have a heart, but when you have a heart to do what God is calling you to do, and loving, and the way that people use you and abuse you, it'll take you to a certain place, and always being there for people and people not always being there for you. And it's just certain things like you kind of like want to have some semblance of peace in your life, but people are constantly like just keep digging. But I dealt with unforgiveness, and it was a stronghold over my life. And this is how I get to this. Like, God was trying to purge something out of me, and all I focused on was the anger that I had for everything. Because then I was like, what now? Like another storm, what now? And here's the thing, when God chastens those that he loves. So if he loves you, he will continue to fight for you. And sometimes you just have to go through it in order to understand it. And then you'll see, because if he doesn't purge certain things out of you at whatever level you're at, it's hard for him to take you to the next level. It's hard for him to trust you with the calling that he has already planned for your life from while you were in your mother's womb, or before you were in your mother's womb. But that's a lot about what the blog is and what I'm about to speak over the next couple of videos. And of course, certain things that are happening. I'm not going to sit here and just live in the past when there's so much going on. We have a pandemic. It's a global pandemic. It's a horrible pandemic, and it's been going on for a very long time. And I'm not here to be political or anything, but this pandemic is more so of racism, and America deals a lot with it. And I can't sit and not say anything about it, because it's something that's happening. It's something that I've experienced, or many other people experience. And some people, they don't believe that it's real. They don't believe that it happens, but may God cover them. May God guide them, and may God show them the truth. And I also pray that God would end racism. But there are some people, whatever insecurities they have in them, they result to it. So some things you just can't fix, right? But anyways, like I said, it's not to be political, but I will be speaking on things that are happening as God leads me. But yeah. And one of the scriptures that, the scripture that when I was praying God gave to me was Malachi 3:4. And Malachi 3:4 says, "Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old and as in former years." So what I take from this is, as my life was really going so well with God, and this talks about the refiner. It's talking about people robbing God and not giving God everything that they should. And that's kind of like where I had gotten to a point where I just wanted to do enough to get by. I'm still working on getting myself fully to the place where I used to be. Sometimes after the honeymoon phase is over, it's hard to get back to that same burning fire passion, but I know I will get there. I see many get there. So I know that this is one of the parts where it's like, do you really believe in God? Like, when all the blessings are not raining down as it used to, do you really believe in God? Do you really trust God? Do you really love God? And I definitely love God. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything without God. So yeah, I'm here and I'm asking God to step in. But yeah, he's saying that there are certain things that have to be refined, fine-tuned, all the impurities need to be burnt away from my life in order for me, for you, whoever is listening, whoever's watching, to get into the position that he needs you to be in. And then at that point, shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord. So there's certain things we want to do. I often tell people this: you can't do God without God, which is very true. You can, I mean, there are many people who build churches, who pastor sheep, but they don't have God. And this is not a shot to anyone or anything of that sort. I tend to not like to judge anybody's walk, as I've had my walk judged many times, but only God knows the truth. So, hey, if you see something, pray about it. But anyways, but that's the scripture they gave me, Malachi 3 and 4. And there are certain things that he has to correct and change in order for you and your prayers and whatever else to be acceptable unto him. Whatever it is. I'm not saying that I know the set rules. Like I said, I'm not a theologian. I am not a pastor, a preacher. I am not it. I'm just Linda. But anyways, that is really what I wanted to say. And that day was a really wonderful day that I had at the beach, and I'm praying that once this pandemic, not just the racist pandemic, but the pandemic of coronavirus and all the uncertainties that comes with it, once that's over, I do hope to enjoy another day at the beach, just me and God worshiping and asking for a word and just rekindling that flame. Well, thanks for watching.